Reactivate is the best thing ever. There's your move deck. Congratulations, you now have a Symbiote Spider-Man deck, but do you understand how to actually use it? It's a 4/6 with the Activate ability. Merge your lowest cost card here with this. Copy its text like it just revealed. It is not Absorbing Man that just reactivates the on reveal. This is a full-on absorption, like think of Clintar, right? You see the symbiote take over the card and swarm over the top of it. That is what this card is doing. Therefore, it is making a brand new card. With that said, any mechanic in the game that says once per game is now no longer once per game. So you can play this onto Nightcrawler, Jeff, Black Knight, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, etc. because that card is disappearing off of the board. When you use the Activate ability of Symbiote Spider-Man, it absorbs the card entirely, and therefore Symbiote Spider-Man takes on the form of that card as a brand new card. You're gonna see it in several different pieces and go, oh my God, the possibilities are endless here, because it also allows for the first time us to reactivate abilities that don't have activations. For example, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. There's so many different things that have to happen here because of how Activate works. And specifically for Symbiote Spider-Man, you need to realize that at a 4-cost card, that is his only real funnel point of he either has to drop on turn 4 or you have to ramp him to turn 3. He is useless turn 5 or 6 because you have to reveal him, then activate him, then the ability counts. So you play him on turn 4, turn 5, you press and hold, get the activate to then happen, which means going into turn 6, now you have some things actually going for you, because activate counts as if it was a card being played. That means that the ordering on this is also like what move used to be. You could play a card down, activate, and then play another card, and their effects will happen in that order. It's kind of a Hulkbuster. It's kind of an Absorbing Man. Look at some of these small activator cards like we saw in the move deck and use it differently. Let me show you what I mean. Look at Namora. Namora has a couple of cards here that you could potentially want to have happen again, whether it's a Cassandra Nova does another pull on an Arishem lane and that just wins a lane all by itself. You could also play out early your Symbiote Spider-Man, play White Tiger in the lane alone, and then activate it so it's a single proc once again on turn 6. Same thing with, as we talked about with Nightcrawler, you have the flexibility moving Nightcrawler around. You could also have Symbiote Spider-Man go down onto an early played Ironheart to then activate it later on. You have to be really careful with the play lines of how you activate Symbiote Spider-Man. This is a pretty straightforward Namora style focus deck that allows for some big oomph. If there's anything I've noticed with deck building, and you'll see this pretty consistently, you don't want too many 4-cost cards because it's either Symbiote Spider-Man on 4 or your other play line on 4. Same thing applies for Phoenix Force. With Phoenix Force, you're typically trying to Phoenix Force on 4, or you're looking to really get those other play lines to happen and execute easily on 4. So you want to reactivate a move mechanic. You want to reactivate a destroy mechanic. With that said, that's why I did not put in Human Torch into this Phoenix Force deck, and I decided to go with the move reinforcement just in case. Now you've got multiple man built into here with Doctor Strange, so you could go ahead and move it around from there if you don't get that easy play line, because this is all in multiple man or all in Nimrod. Think about what you could do here. You could put down Carnage on curve on turn 2. Later on, put down the Symbiote Spider-Man on turn 4 on that lane, followed by Nimrod, and then activate on turn 6, which will re-trigger that Carnage to go off again and eat those cards and destroy the Nimrods and make all the big things happen. Same types of mechanics with Doctor Strange doing the move builds, if you will, and then moving it again later on in the game because you already moved it out of a lane. You're trying to move it back into the lane by reactivating Doctor Strange. I liked Angel instead. I know it feels wrong, but I liked Angel instead here because you want to get some destroys out early, right? You want to get down that multiple man into Venom, but then you also want to thin the deck to increase your chances of making sure on turn 4 you either have Phoenix Force or Symbiote Spider-Man. If you don't, you're out. Or you could just have your opponents not put anything where they want, because It's just a lot of fun to do. Constantly messing with the board state is something that Symbiote Spider-Man can now do. You can reactivate a White Widow for clogging, sure, of course, but you could also reactivate a Juggernaut. You could also reactivate a Polaris, which brings another card into your Kraven Kingpin lane. You could activate Stegron a second time to really make sure that lane is completely clear. Reactivate Arrow, so you build up a whole bunch in one lane and then go Symbiote Spider-Man, Arrow, activate Arrow again, and keep that lane just clogging. But what about the 2-cost cards? And I say those in particular because very often 2-cost cards are your synergy pieces to go with Shang-Chi. And you constantly end up in a position of, do I play it now because it's the only card I have, or do I save it for later because I'm gonna draw my win condition and it reinforces my win condition? Symbiote Spider-Man solves both those problems by letting you do both. You can play down Master Mold on turn 2 and then reactivate it by using Symbiote Spider-Man in the same lane, and then hit activate on turn 5 and then put 2 more of those Sentinels in your opponent's hand on turn 6 to reinforce your Ronin. Or you could do the same exact idea with Hazmat. We're putting in Shang-Chi in here because you're looking at possibly even playing something like a Maximus or playing a White Widow and then having it maybe get reactivated even, or having a reactivation hit from Crystal. So very often your play lines are going to be dictated based on how you decide to play down Mystique, who is the secret sauce in here, because you could have Mystique go down into an empty lane on turn 3, Symbiote Spider-Man on turn 4, play down Ronin on turn 5, and then activate Symbiote Spider-Man, which turns the Mystique into the on reveal, which takes on the absorption, and now it's a 4/6 ongoing of whatever Ronin, Ajax, etc., and then you can put down all of the chaos afterwards. There's some cool things with Mystique. This is just one of them. But what if you do the broken thing and ramp it out? This is what happens. Shuri Red Skull. Think about this. You've got Zabu into Symbiote Spider-Man, into Shuri. That's crazy. You get the double effect because it's going to take on Shuri. And if you get that playline, Zabu into Symbiote Spider-Man into Shuri, you're going to 4x the card you put on top of it. This is the kind of reason that I think Taskmaster got moved to a 6-0, because in and of itself, that's just borked, straight up broken. I love it though, because it's exciting to say, you know what? I didn't get that Sauron down on 3. That's okay though. I'll put down a 56 power Red Skull and copy it. Not much is gonna take that down. You have that play line. Ta-da! But to me, I think the secret best deck right now is going to be Move. Move is gonna be insane with Symbiote Spider-Man because you can reactivate Iron Fist, Ghost Spider, Cloak, all of those little move activators that you want one by one. Now it's even easier to put down all those littles, and if you don't get it to happen the way you want to, you can put down Symbiote Spider-Man on 4, reactivate one of them on 5 to get the move mechanic timing on 6. There's a lot of cool things that can be done from that, and I think that this style of move deck, where we get to see Spider-Man 2099, we get to see an easily consistently 1/6 Miles Morales, we get to see a lot of move cards pop in here. This is classic move, but now reinforced because Symbiote Spider-Man allows you to utilize that on one of the 1-cost cards. Lastly, I'm going to talk about Silver Symbiote Sera tech. It's a lot of S's. And Silver Sable, who's also releasing at the exact same time, is going to present a widespread option for Ajax, because of course Hazmat Ajax is a very, strong combination. But if we now integrate Silver Sable as the 1-cost card that doesn't have any interference in any way, now we can go down the path of Ms. Marvel and full-on teching it by putting in Mobius and Sera and then just dropping a boatload of power wide while putting control, because we're seeing a lot of Mockingbirds and Sasquatches, and therefore Mobius is going to be important and Luke Cage is going to be important. So that way you just need a little affliction on the opponent's side to make Ajax a good card, and then Ms. Marvel spreads the power wide the rest of the way, because you've also got strong cards like Maximus and Gladiator, top-end point totals. I think that this deck does incredibly well, and Silver Sable very much so is going to help it, which is what I talk about over here. So take a look at Silver Sable as well, because Symbiote Spider-Man is just going to be game-changing.